When my very first graphic novel came out, I was invited to teach a week-long comics workshop to teenagers. I'd never taught comics. I just finished my first comic. I was still learning, like, how does this work? I'm still learning. What are comics? How do they work? Like, what are these things? And now I'm supposed to teach teenagers, the most unruly, vile bunch of miscreants. Just kidding. I love teenagers. I'm just messing with it. I always struggled in school when the teacher gave us an assignment that we were supposed to do one way in order for us to learn one thing out of it. And if you didn't get it, the whole thing is lost on you. That happened to me a few times. And I didn't want that experience for these comics students. So I came up with these activity pages. You can come to it with your own skill level, whatever age you are, whatever writing and drawing means to you. You jump in, I give you a simple activity. Here are two characters talking, but the speech bubbles are empty. Fill them in. Partner up. One of you is going to be character one, the other will be character two. Complete the story with text. And kids were into it. It was cool to see teenagers being excited. And it gave them ideas for their own things, and they kept going with it, which was the whole point. And we got a deal through Penguin Random House, and they liked the idea of using an activity book as a way to teach children and teenagers and adults in a really fun way all the different parts and pieces of comics, how they work. You pay attention to the mechanics of a comic. Comics are a form of storytelling. There are non-fiction comics as well as fiction comics. There are comics in every genre. Comics are not superhero stories. The strength that comics have over any of the other media is that they're using words and pictures in a very unique way. In a picture book, you might have one picture that fills up the whole page. In a novel, you probably don't have any pictures. In a movie, you have one image basically that fills the whole screen. In a comic book, you can lay 7 images right next to each other on the same page in a sequence, and it has a certain effect on the reader and on the story. In one aspect, it can be cumulative, you know? They create a rhythm, they create a tone, a structure. They set expectations for the reader. And then on the next page, if you have 3 panels, you've just kind of messed with those expectations for the reader, hopefully in a way that tells a good story. But it's a real strength, and I'm not a champion of comics in the sense that I say, everyone has to read them, or else. I'm not the comics dictator. But I do think there's a story for everyone. This is my 78th sketchbook that I've completed. Dad got me started keeping a journal when I was 8. I wrote in it often enough, and then I would start drawing in it, and eventually my sketchbook became my journal and my to-do list and my notebook and my idea book. So I take my sketchbook with me everywhere. It's my private playground is what I call it. It's like a place I can go to and explore and experiment and try new things. And it's cool if it doesn't work out because it's my permission to try it. I feel like creativity is just problem solving. It's just problem solving. That's one distinction from us and our animal friends, is that we can consider potentials. We can consider possibilities. We can imagine different endings and different scenarios and different situations so that we can address whatever outcome we want, and we can align ourselves with that path. And I think that's being creative, is thinking of and pursuing those paths. And so I feel like that's my job in talking with parents, educators, librarians, as well as teenagers and children, and showing them you can tell all kinds of stories. The end.